When the popular kids would prank their friends by getting you to ask their friend out. r/AskReddit. What is a sign that you're unattractive? When you smile at someone and they pretend they didn't notice. My mom has done this to me all of my life. I never understood it. Fuck. When people get annoyed with you for calling yourself ugly. Physically, you're beautiful, but people don't feel attracted to you because you aren't working on your self-love, and most people are, whether they're aware or not, attracted to confidence. Edit. I didn't mean that people with low self-esteem can't be loved. They deserve as much love as everyone else. I meant that people generally don't feel attracted to someone who doesn't even try to love themselves and only says negative things. I've always had a hard time being a part of my class. I always got left out of birthday parties, but one day I was invited to one. Her mother forced her to invite me, inviting everyone but one person is rude, she said. I decided that I would try my best and try to get closer to my class. My sister did my hair and makeup and got me nice clothing. I arrive. She sees me and she's like, "Hey Laura, you looks all over me, you look decent." I guess. I just stood there and was like, "Oh thank you." That was a horrible party. Made me realize that I wasn't very pretty. So, a sign of being unattractive is when people have a hard time complimenting you. Sorry for telling a whole chapter of my life, lol. Several people send you the same poem about being beautiful quote on the inside. Yeah, that happened. When your friends say they want to set you up with someone and they'll run it by the other person then get back to you. Then you never hear about it ever again. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm unattractive. I mean, I simply might not be their type. But also, it's happened a few times now, so I wouldn't read into that too much. Some people get flaky when it comes to being set up by friends. Especially if they overthink it. What if we hit it off and then have a bad breakup and have a bunch of mutual friends and it's awkward to see each other, etc. I had a friend, A, that I wanted to set me up with one of her friends, B, but she just wouldn't do it. I later found out that A was in love with me, and that probably explained why she wasn't any help. I posted this elsewhere, but anyways, here it is. Once, I was playing dodgeball once with a group of older guys and there was another girl there, same height and same age, but obviously she was more attractive than I am, and better liked, and we were on the same team. One of the guys on the other team had the ball and refused to even throw it at her leg, saying he felt bad for hitting her, and a few minutes later I get hit hard in the face with it by the same guy. It felt great. Cute guy at the bar that I assumed was flirting with me hit me with a "What's your roommate's number?" He was referring to the short skinny blonde one. I immediately told him that she had a boyfriend. He then proceeded to ask me what my other roommate's number was. She also has a boyfriend. He then has the audacity to ask me for my third and final roommate's number. He seemed visibly annoyed when I told him that she was, in fact, in a relationship. He then ended with a "Why are you guys even here then?" Before I walked away, I was trying to hold in my tears while telling my roommates I was leaving the bar at midnight instead of the usual 2 AM. I then proceeded to bawl my eyes out on my walk home from the bar. I then spent the entire night drowning in my own sorrow. My roommates still don't know about this, and I never plan on telling them. The only reason it hurt so badly was because I considered myself to be above average physically, and then I gained a lot of weight suddenly after beginning medication in 2015. It's hard enough being the fat friend, but it's even harder coming to the realization that you're the fat and ugly friend. This happened October 2018, and I've since lost a significant amount of weight. My self-esteem is still suffering and I haven't been able to see myself as attractive since then, even after getting dressed up and doing my makeup. I'm still single and don't foresee that changing anytime soon, mostly because my insecurities won't allow me to believe any man will actually want to be in a relationship with me. Oh well. Hopefully someday I gain back the confidence I once had. Everybody here who has problems with their idea of their own appearance needs to read the Satanic Bible chapter on aesthetics. Basically, if you're objectively attractive, great. If not, you can still be terribly charismatic by using your appearance to your advantage. The only way you'll psychologically survive dealing with an ugly appearance is by absolute acceptance. Own it. Be proud without arrogance. You can become stronger, for example, and your physical strength can give you the body acceptance to understand that you are not just your face. Be clean and strong and confident. Gain small successes in life and learn from the failures instead of reveling in pity. You must change your perspective on yourself and life. Worry is the most useless self-destructive action one can perform with one's limited number of life hours, so don't do it. I remember as a 13-year-old girl playing some sort of teen girl board game with a couple friends. I got a question that said my favorite part about me is A. My face, B. My hair, C. My butt. Can't remember what D was. I did not consider myself unattractive. I took a couple of seconds to think and decide between my hair and face, which I thought were best. This friend who was considered beautiful and popular with the boys was embarrassed for me, and before I could open my mouth said, "You don't have to answer that. Just take another one." That bitch. Well, 22 years later, this not exuberantly beautiful, but somewhat attractive nerd, me, is married to a great man, also a somewhat attractive nerd, with whom I raise 3 adorable, smart, and kind children. I have an amazing 6-figure career and have traveled the world, settling down in a beautiful house in a coastal big city. That bitch? Still in bumfuck nowhere. Tried to catch a couple of eligible men who just used her and then went on to marry less crazy women. Rumor had it that for a while she was passed on between a few wealthy married men. Last I heard she latched onto an ass who was running for office and she had dreams of being the city's first lady. He lost. Now at 38 she is pregnant, nobody knows who the dad is, and she has GoFundMes for everything. I feel like donating $1,000 just out of spite. Sorry, I got better remembering that. The day I realized I was unattractive. I was 10 years old, in 5th grade. The governor's wife had cancer, and my 5th grade teacher decided my class would make big get well banner for the governor's wife. I was the only kid that really worked on it. Recesses, lunches, after school, a few other kids had started working on it, but quit after the first day. When it was finished, my teacher took us 4 students and the banner to the Capitol building. A reporter and a photographer from one of the newspapers was there, and they did a little story about it and took a number of pictures. The next morning my dad went to the store to buy a copy of the paper because I was going to be in it. When he found the small article and photo, the picture they used was one where the photographer had our teacher standing to the left of the shot, the other 3 kids from my class we holding 3 of the corners of the banner, and he had moved me to the right out of the shot. I got the obligatory not pictured line in the caption of the photo. That was the day I realized I was ugly, the day that I realized when the kids at school made fun of me, they weren't being mean, they were being honest, that adults saw me as ugly too, and that even a photographer, reporter and an editor of a newspaper decided that a photo for a human interest story would be ruined it. I were in it. Small kid saying you are ugly. When something bad happens, people don't bend over backwards to tell you it's okay. I once dated an extremely attractive girl who rear-ended a middle-aged gentleman in a nice car and he just laughed it off and told her not to worry about it. It turns out that was not the first time something like that had happened to her. I was baffled and apparently not attractive enough and or wrong gender to have ever experienced something like that in my life. That's an interesting question. I quite often feel as though I'm a painting or photograph in a gallery. People look, they stare, then as they come closer they decide that I'm actually that really odd peculiar little art project that was only hung between the beautiful works of art because there was a space to be filled. I guess asymmetrical face. One of my nostrils is bigger than the other. I also have a lazy eye, so one eye looks a bit more shut than the other if I don't pay attention and try to keep them normal. Scrolling through this thread desperately hoping that nothing here applies to you, because while no one has ever told you you're ugly, you're constantly afraid of it just means that you are a normal human who's a little anxious and deserves love and respect just like anyone else. D. When I was 14 we had a school workshop day, and one of the activities was that you had to be in random groups of 10 and write a compliment about everyone. Pretty much everyone said you're interesting, or you're good at math, and every other girl in the group was complimented on style, hair, etc. So that talked to a girl on the phone due to quarantine. The vibe felt great. She complimented my voice and said it was one of the most pleasant ones she ever heard. Felt good. We exchanged photos, and after that suddenly everything felt off. She got distant so quick. That's when it struck me. I remember working at a fast food place as a teenager. Guy came and took one look at my face. Him and his buddies started laughing uncontrollably. Jokingly asked for my number. I asked if he wanted to order anything. He refused, said he didn't want me to touch anything. I had a lot of similar interactions as a teenager. That one hurt the most. When you're in 4th grade and other students are making fun of how you look and telling you that no one will ever love you, your teacher tells you, well, some people are just perfectly happy alone, instead of platitudes about your looks. The only people who smile at you are people who work in retail. You're 13 and at a sleepover and a fellow 13-year-old you've known for 20 minutes looks you straight in the eye and, unprompted, says you're really ugly. I'm less ugly now, but it was true at the time. You're a bitch, Jordan. Thank you for watching. You are beautiful. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos.